Hello, my name is Yaya. Thank you for tuning in to Trauma and God. I know from personal experience that healing from a black trauma is possible, but it takes time. Just as in nature, there's always sunlight behind a dark cloud. So it is for us. God is light, and He's always there. We just have to find Him. In this series, I talk about things that hinder us from finding the light, and things that we can do that help us overcome obstacles. Today's subject is trauma as an octopus. Well, first, let me tell you some things about an octopus. An octopus has 8 arms, 9 brains, 3 hearts, 2 eyes, and 1 beak. The base of each of its 8 arms is a set of cells which controls each arm separately. These cells act as small brains. The 9th brain is the main brain and oversees the whole nervous system. It allows localized activity in each arm, or it can override the small brains by taking centralized control of each arm. When the main brain takes centralized control by overriding the small brain, the octopus has an instant fight, flight, or freeze response. They react in several ways. They can expel water from a muscular tube called a siphon and shoot headfirst up into the deeper water, or they use camouflage, change color, and freeze, or they fight by squirting ink, or they hide in terribly small places. Well, I think of trauma as an octopus. How, you may ask, is trauma as an octopus? Well, trauma happens when a basic human need is severely threatened. For instance, our safety is threatened, or we believe we're going to die. Our brain is busy trying to do what it should. It has this way of video recording the event. But the overwhelming fear from trauma has created an emotional overload, which results in something like an explosion in our brain. This explosion hurls the emotional overflow into every possible direction, leaving an emotional debris field inside our bodies. Each of the debris fields from our emotional explosion are still connected like octopus arms to our main brain. Like an octopus arm, which has a mini brain controlling it, this partial splintered video recording has a life of its own. It is no ordinary video. Not only is this recording stamped with the season, the time, the date, it also contains emotions, all of them that accompany the event, and every sensory component during it. For instance, what the ground felt like, what the air, the dust on the ground, the polish, the sounds, the smells, the tastes, textures of cloth, textures of the wood, sunshine, colors, insects that might be crawling around, birds or noises in the distance. Every sensory element is recorded as well. So, when a specific recording embedded in my octopus arm senses a similar threat to that which it holds as a fragment, it automatically plays a video on repeat. By doing so, a message of distress is sent back to the main brain saying, danger, danger is close by, alert, alert. Our main brain then takes over by using its centralized control option, overriding any individual octopus arms by sending a command for all to move together in unison and escape the perceived danger. In an instant, we are in fight, flight, or freeze mode. Now, many times, I'm able to keep my trauma memories calmed, but I'm not always in control. And despite how hard I try to keep a trauma octopus arm calm, it sometimes will react on any day to any particular trigger. I recently had a very familiar and major trauma experience. An octopus arm in me woke up when my family was in a tight spot financially. It began playing the same piece of splintered real-life video on repeat of how I was not provided for as a child. The message strengthened to, I am not worth providing for. I was hopeless, alone, and my main brain was urging me to fight, flight, or freeze. Let me explain why. At the start of the Second World War, my father was about 13 years old. Food supply was scarce, and it was his job to find food for his family and for any others hiding in the home. He found food at night through stealth, cunning, and extreme bravery. Father's actions during the war earned him enormous status in his family growing up, and for the rest of his life, he could do no wrong. This notion was not shared by mother, who was at the receiving end of his domineering egotism, selfishness, contempt, and even prejudice towards women. With the looks of John Wayne, father was handsome, 6'4", articulate, well-traveled, well-dressed. And when he walked into a room, everyone noticed him. Women in particular noticed him and gravitated to him, and he relished this as he regaled them with exciting stories of seafaring exploits, enthralling his audience. Well, when I was young, a war happened where we were living far from Europe, which threw us back to Europe as homeless, penniless refugees. And after a while, father got a good job and England became our home, our new home. When we first arrived as refugees, father, who worked abroad, wired his paycheck home to us. Well, slowly this started to change, and increasingly the promised paycheck did not arrive. At first, we yo-yoed from having plenty to having nothing, and then nothing became the norm. Father seemingly had grown tired of us, and he put his funds into more worthy courses, like get-rich-quick schemes or other women. Father was selfish. He didn't care how his actions affected us. To his immediate family, his words were cynical and harsh, and he swore like the sailor he was. To outsiders, he was full of refinement and charm. My birthday was usually forgotten. There was no, we love you, but we can't afford a gift, sorry. Nothing was said. I had already been sexually abused by my father and felt that I was unwanted. Therefore, I came to the conclusion that the fault lay with me. I was not worth being provided for. Well, we recently had a large and and very unexpected bills we were trying to recover financially when I was told I needed some expensive treatment. The message that I was not worth providing for was coming through loud and clear. My octopus arm holding the fragment of video containing the scene came to life and was playing on repeat. It made me relive the experience of my refugee and rape traumas in real time over and over again. All the smells, the hulking size of my father, being trapped, being alone, no gifts, feeling hopeless, and too young to know how to protect myself. When trauma emotions overwhelm our senses, it's like Pandora's box is opened. So many black, awful, distressing thoughts and troubling trauma emotions fly out of that box, taking all hope along with them. Well, being not provided for growing up was very accurate. My home life, I now projected onto God. I believe that God didn't want me and that He thought I was not worth providing for. This is neither true nor accurate. I had to calm my raw emotions by telling myself the truth. God does want me. God does love me. God will provide for me. Yet, for a while, God remained hidden behind a dark cloud. So I had to keep doing what I know to do. I chose to keep telling myself the truth. I also was honest with those that I love and told them how I felt. My counseling knowledge helped. My husband reinforced in me how much I'm loved, and he often asked me what he could do to help me. He reminded me that I'm safe. My father is dead. I'm no longer a helpless child, and God has not left us alone. Slowly, my trauma cloud is lifting, and I'm beginning to see God's sunlight again. Slowly, my extreme emotions are calming down. I've been on this path of exchanging lies for truth for a long time. Emotional pain takes a long time to heal. Healing needs both a touch from God and a touch from people. Where people have hurt us, people will heal us. But where we once thought God abandoned us, we need to know that God is here with us right now and that He's for us. While as major traumas left me with many octopus arms, each holding a different splintered piece of emotional memory, each one initially seemed to stand alone as a disconnected thought. At first, it was very confusing to me to grasp what was happening, with each memory very much alive. Over time, from professionals, from those that love me, from reading books, from talking to God, from reading the Bible, I have found that the memories which seem so random at the time are not. One random memory is simply one octopus arm, and when several adjoining octopus arms are identified, the whole makes more sense. I still may not know where all the octopus arms are, but I can see how each one I find connects to the whole. One day, it may all make sense. Even now, I find I am reaping benefits. Some of my octopus arms no longer scream danger. They just say, be careful. Other arms are silent. They just are quiet memories. Well, dealing with feelings like God does not provide for me has taken a great deal of emotional energy and time. You just can't go under your trauma, over it, or around it. You have to go through it and fully feel it to come out at the other end. We always have a choice to make as to how long or how far we are willing to walk on this long and painful road of change. Well, once King David in the Bible wrote a psalm highlighting how he felt alone and abandoned and couldn't see where God was. It's Psalm 13. He says, "How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart day after day? How long will my enemy exalt himself and triumph over me?" And then further down he says, "But I have trusted and relied on and have been confident in your loving kindness and faithfulness. My heart shall rejoice and delight in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord because he has dealt bountifully with me." None of us know how long we have to wait before God answers our prayers, but answer them he will. Next week, I'll talk about there being a season and a time for everything. Well, please subscribe and tell others if you found this vlog helpful. You may email me at Yaya at traumaandgod@gmail.com, or read my personal story in Snakes in the Loo at Amazon Books. If this stirs things in you, please reach out to a mental health professional. In the US, help is also available at the following. There's the Suicide and Crisis Helpline, 1-800-273-TALK. Rape, Abuse and Incest National Network Helpline is 1-800-656-HOPE. God is for you, and so am I. Thank you for listening. I will tune in next week, and I will tell you some more things about how to overcome our obstacles. Bye-bye.